Today marks 1230 sharing lessons I've learned and continue to learn with all of you. My hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about how to become a great skeptic. Now, of course, this doesn't not to everyone. Some people say that I'm a great skeptic. Now, I could be very skeptical about them saying that because I think there's very, very little people are actually true skeptics, good skeptics. Because I think that the majority of the time we always looking to confirm information, not to be skeptical about. I think that we need to be open, but at the same time we need to find a way how to be skeptical about things. So they will share like a little bit more understanding of you how to be great skeptic. Because it's very, very important. When I think about history, that the reality sometimes is very, very complex and deceptive. And if we start to believe that something that our perception is true reality, of course we will take wrong actions. Because sometimes we are own deceivers. Sometimes we need to be skeptical about our own beliefs, about our own thoughts. And we're able to challenge our thoughts, we're able to challenge our beliefs, and look at for evidence for those beliefs. I think that's very, very important. So that means that skeptical not just about others, skeptical about yourself, skeptical about your perception about the world. Because if you not do that, we start to believe the thing that is actually not helping us. And the most important part to understand is truth is not always comfortable. Truth sometimes is hurting you. So that means that sometimes we want to confirm that something that's beneficial for us, something that's good for us. It might be that you suck at something. You're terrible. Maybe you have some kind of bad traits. Maybe you're dishonest. Maybe you're intolerant. Maybe whatever it is. So being able to accept it, because sometimes you confirm, oh, like I'm pretty good. Yeah, like I'm pretty good. I'm confirmed. I'm pretty good. But when you're skeptical, it's like, do I really good? And you said, no, I'm not that good yet. The most important part there's yet. I will work until. So if you have bad traits, but you're aware of it and you want to change it, you're able to do that if you're willing to do that. But again, we need to be true to ourselves. And we need to be skeptical about the things, positive things that we have about ourselves as well. Maybe that positivity coming from nowhere. Number three is that power thrives in blind acceptance. That means that a lot of times when I look into people and they accept some kind of advice and they just accept the advice without actually looking where that advice is coming from. Oh, my friend said it. But yeah, but where that friend got? He get from the friend. And where that friend got? From something that is actually not beneficial. So that means that we need to understand that. We need to understand that we not supposed to have blind acceptance. It means that what we need to do when someone says information, we need to verify it because blind acceptance leads to disappointment. Number four, I think that's yeah, I mentioned that you are your own greatest deceiver. And when we understand that, that means we challenge our own beliefs all the time just to make sure that we're able to be the best version of ourselves. So today we'll share like really how to become great skeptic, how to do that, how to really work towards becoming that great skeptic. That's why I said that maybe this is not for everyone. Those for people who actually really have that confirmation biases, people who really believe everything. This is a lesson for them. So first one, I think that first we need to think about our thinking. So how our thoughts are built. Really find out how our brains are deceiving us. I know that there's great books about skepticism. Maybe able to let's understand okay how my thinking is working. Because sometimes it's a shortcut to believe someone else without actually looking for validation. In health specifically, there's a lot of articles that actually is not as good when you try to look into the evidence, and evidence shows all different things. But the title says one thing, but the evidence shows different things because it depends who actually paid them to create that article. And I've been from finances. I know exactly the power of numbers well. That means that you're able to position those numbers in a certain way that it looks one way, but actually when you really understand the numbers, it's totally different. So it's very, very deceiving thing. So that means that we need to understand how you are thinking. Second thing, then we need to really look for seeking to disapprove, not to work. Because probably you have heard confirmation biases, but never heard um, lie biases. Because we have a tendency to really confirm information. But when you actually start looking at it, let's disapprove my, because I really love these questions. And when a person says like something that I truly believe, I used to say that I believe totally different things. And that means it used to allow me to really look into what I'm able to really, how I could able to disapprove my point of view. How I could be able to disapprove my point of view. Because when you're actually looking for ways to disapprove and you're not able to find any way to disapprove it, how much more confident you will be about your belief? It will be so much more because when you look into only things that confirms your belief, I think that you're not as powerful when you look into okay, what confirms it, okay, but what disproves it. Because at that moment you become much stronger in belief in that. I think that we need to train ourselves in logic and our argumentation. So that means that is a skill set. Skill set to really look into arguments and really understanding where those are coming from. We need to understand where the patterns are coming from because we're able to really work very hard to develop the skill set that allows us to be better in debates with other people, debates with ourselves, and we're able to create those arguments. When we're able to really um, logic, of course, that is much more powerful. And as I love the saying that common practice, however, common sense is not very common at the moment because just being able to logic from this is all the thing that we need. Number four, and this is very, very important, is develop a hierarchy of evidence. So it means that we need to, sometimes people don't look at evidence whatsoever. So the first step will be find the evidence. As every single claim that you receive, I know that sometimes you want to shortcut, but we need to have that. If it's very important, that means you need to type evidence. If it's not important, of course, don't look, it doesn't matter. It's just minor thing, but you need to major on major things. But if you, there's a major thing in your life, when you have evidence, and when you have evidence, now we have one, two, three, four, five evidence points. Now we need to have hierarchy. What are the most important things? Because sometimes there is moments in life because both things are working at the same time. It's contradicting. You're not able to have both things at the same time. So when you do have the hierarchy of evidence, and what are the key and most important evidence, and that's how we will choose this way or this way. So it might be like this 70% truth and this 30% truth. So I will go after 70. But only you're able to do that only when you have a hierarchy of evidence. Number five is, and this is very important in anything in life, is master the art of asking the right questions. So it means that like about the evidence, about assumptions, about benefits, all those things. That means being able to ask the right questions. Because I think that when you actually able to question yourself and others with right questions. I know that some people just don't like questions um, because it shows their ignorance of being lazy to really get the information from the right places. Because I love the question. Okay, so where do you find that information? That's very interesting. I would love to learn more. Where do you find it, that information? And people says, I don't know. Like I heard on the news. How do you know that's not fake news? Like I just really love the question. I guess like where that information. I love what you're saying. I just would love to know exactly. I would love to research more. Where do you get that information from? And well, you found a lot of times they sometimes people just don't know where they get the information from. And how are you supposed to trust that information if you have no idea where that information is coming from? That's why we need to understand that the art of asking questions. The simple question, where that information coming from? Um, And number six is balanced out with open mindedness. So we need to be skeptical, but skeptical doesn't mean that you need to be closed minded. Is that means that I want to be open minded. I want to look at that evidence. I want to really research and find the truth for myself. That means closed minded is when a person is saying, no, that's not true, and I'm walking away. But open minded is I'm skeptical, but I'm looking forward to invest my time, my energy, my resources to find out if it's actually true. So that means going after evidence, asking the right questions, and saying, like, okay, I didn't believe it. I was skeptical, but after looking into all the resources, I looked into all the evidence. You were right. That's all true. That's totally possible. So that's what open mind is. Really being open. Open is not just listening to other person and saying like, oh, I'm open to listen. Open to listen a lot of times is closed minded because I heard what you're saying and I don't believe it. Open minded is giving your own time beside that other person and looking to find out the answer. That is open minded because you invest your time and energy to understand if it's actually true or not. That is open minded. And last one I want to mention is seven is apply skepticism to everything, including skepticism itself. It means that when we look into life, like we have finances, we have health, we have relationships, we have spirituality, in every area we're supposed to use skepticism. Every single area. It's religion, massive skepticism, it's faith, and of course there's not a lot of skepticism, but there's a lot of things that we're able to be very skeptical about. And I think that we need to about health. There is so much misinformation in health, so much. It's just crazy how much I invest a lot of time in understanding health. And I learned that so many scientific information are miscoded, are not delivered in the best way. So it means when you're actually looking for information and you want the best for yourself, you need to be very good and open-minded, but at the same time skeptical. Because if you're not skeptical, we potentially could take actions that actually hurting us, not helping us. So I hope that you reflect as well. What kind of ideas do you accept without actually looking into evidence and being skeptical in things? I love shortcuts, but I love shortcuts for the minor things. For the major things in life, I think that we need to be skeptical. And that means that we need to look for ways how to become the best skeptics that are very open minded, but at the same time learning to be the best. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.